The earliest years of my childhood, from pictures and even faint memories, were happy, I think. But the majority of what I actually remember in being a child was pretty different. When I was in early elementary school, my mom started to experience some chronic illness and eventually became just unable to care for me and certain aspects of our home life. And my dad was in and out of work. There was a lot of stress within our home and on their marriage, and it felt more like chaos than peace and happiness. And so I tried to take up the post of peacekeeper, and successfully so. Our family didn't have much involvement in church. I remember going on Christmas Eve and Easter. And so when I was invited by a friend when I was 14 to go to camp, I was uncertain but happy to give it a try. And it was in that time that God saved me. I became a Christian at 14, and everything about my life changed. It was while I was at college that I experienced Christian community and a local church home for the first time, and it brought tremendous growth. It was an amazing time in my life, but also the time when I experienced the loss of my mom. My grief in that loss and my dad's grief in that loss were pretty separate. I didn't quite understand his sorrow when I had experienced and witnessed so much anger toward my mom, and struggled with how to have compassion for him, wanting to comfort him and make sure that he was okay while wrestling with my own resentment and anger. And as I left college and entered young adulthood and even stepped into ministry at our church, I realized I needed some help understanding that and working through my resentment and misplaced guilt. And it was through community and the ministries of a local church that I experienced tremendous healing and came to realize and experience God's promises to be near to the brokenhearted, to heal those who are crushed in spirit, and really what it meant to be brought into the family of faith, an everlasting family. God was preparing me for the time when my dad would begin to experience a physical decline and suffering and eventually pass away. And his passing and that loss was very different than even losing my mom. I was surrounded by a church family that comforted me and carried me, and God's presence through them was so real that even in the midst of tremendous sorrow, I was not alone. And there was even understanding and experiencing the joy and peace of his presence through the gift of his people.